Based on the demographic of SNAP recipients that I'm thinking of being like single mothers, and based on the cancellation that you went through in 2021, do you see how that like is kind of like...
No, I don't. I don't see how it's relevant to subsidizing a government program that's a failure and rife with fraud.
I just think it's interesting that you have put someone in a position of potentially needing to rely on that and then turn around and dunk on the other people who also need to rely on it.
I think it's potentially interesting that you believe things that you see in the media and have no idea is the situation that shit.
Steven Crowder just asked the question Washington really doesn't want touched. Should we end SNAP benefits in America? Watch a young college liberal defend the system while Crowder unloads on soda, candy, caviar, and taxpayer-funded necessities. Before we check it out, YouTube shows me only 1.4% of my viewers are not subscribed. We need all your help to fight back against the liberal death cult. So like and subscribe now for daily videos. This is America Only.
The deal you turned down from Ben Shapiro's corporation is worth $50 million.
Sure.
So
The company, it employs about 30 people.
A lot of money, though. And we're still funding Israel. We're still funding all of these militaries across the United States. We're in a deficit of our own military.
We're funding the military of the United States.
Well, we're in a deficit for our own, like, national protection. Like,
There's not even close.
Because of how much we're giving to them. So I do have questions, though. Where do you make your money? Like, who funds you?
It's entirely funded by viewers. Yeah, about 85% is people who choose to subscribe. So no outside money from donors, from nonprofits, and we do like one sponsor a day that makes up about 15% of revenue.
Okay.
I mean, do people not realize how much money you can make off the internet, especially with your own like talk show / podcast like Steven Crowder has? He sells a ton of merch. I mean, where do you think he's getting his money from? Do you think like literally the state of Israel is paying his bills? Yeah, keep dreaming.
Based on the demographic of SNAP recipients that I'm thinking of being like single mothers, and based on the cancellation that you went through in 2021, do you see how that like is kind of like...
No, I don't. I don't see how it's relevant to subsidizing a government program that's a failure and rife with fraud.
I just think it's interesting that you have put someone in a position of potentially needing to rely on that and then turn around and dunk on the other people who also need to rely on it.
I think it's potentially interesting that you believe things that you see in the media and have no idea is the situation that she is.
Yeah,
you think she's on Snap and XWeb, but I'm not allowed to discuss it because that's the mother of my children.
You're rich. She's not going to be on Snap. I'm glad you respect the mother of your children. I'm not
going to be discussing that issue.
About
and I think it's a very feminist thing to then go like, well, since I can't actually argue this point, let me go to something personal when they're ushering you on.
The hypocrisy. Like the no-fault divorce thing, that's a whole other topic. I wish we would have talked about that instead because I think
biggest failure of Ronald Reagan. Yeah.
I think that would have been a lot more interesting, but like
I know, but it's the sign. We have to talk about the sign. I know it's a feminist thing to want to talk about whatever you want to talk about, but the sign is about Snap.
I brought it back in.
Dude, that's what they all do. I mean, it's just a complete, like, female trait. I mean, you see it with the men, too. Like, at all these debates, I've watched, like, 1,000 of them now. Like, they always do, like, drive-by shoutings. Just like, hey, blah, 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 you're a national schmotionalist. You're a this or that. You're a fascist. And it's just like, then they run away. They never want to stand and talk it out or explain their side. It's just so funny how it never fails. It never fails. You don't really see that with the right wing.
I brought it
Did you bring it back in?
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that like a lot of women end up on Snap from situations like that.
Yeah, to be honest with you, this was later in the day. Not all of the conversations were taking place in good faith or were productive at all. And surprisingly, very few people had anything to disagree with once they knew the money on which we were spending these resources for SNAP. But this conversation was different from most we've had in the past, and I would say productive. And this young lady is lovely as a button. Please welcome and be kind to Carter. Nice to meet you, Carter. Please grab a seat.
We're going to check out another one of his debates with these college kids here. I only plan on doing the first one, but let's see if she says any crazy shit.
And do you mind scooching in just so we can, for the camera, they can see? I don't know how familiar you are with these installments, this series, but I just try and set people a little more at ease. I'll tell you what it's not. It's not gotcha. It's not scoring points. It's not dunking. It's not meant to be clipped for reels, though people will do that. Was created almost a decade ago to have authentic conversations in good faith and see where we agree, disagree, and are able to present our opinions on controversial topics.
Absolutely.
It will not be uploaded, cut out of context like a Jon Stewart type thing. That being said,
at least she has an American flag shirt on. That's a green flag from the start.
Said a controversial topic, and I'm at my wit's end. I'm fed up with this. The more I look into SNAP, my position on this is end SNAP completely, outright, wholesale. If we want something like food stamps for bare necessities, create a separate program. It's so beyond repair and so corrupt. I think in 2025, done with SNAP. If you disagree, you're welcome to change my mind.
Okay, let me give you some context. So I come from Adair County, Oklahoma. When I was growing up, it was the #1 poorest county. We've moved up in the world, and now we're the 3rd poorest county.
Good for you.
I know, out of all 77, yay!
Yeah. It's baby steps.
Yes, I'm a Cherokee citizen. Cherokee Nation is very prevalent in my little bitty town. Even with Cherokee Nation, we still depend on SNAP.
Yeah. Why?
Yes. Because it's a very rural, very small town, and we have a lot of small jobs that pay minimum wage, so people are not able to afford rent and eat.
Okay.
We heavily have to depend on horticulture, agriculture. We have a Tyson factory. We do so much of that kind of work, but that does not pay well. So, we're paying to keep the lights on. Not me personally.
No, I get it.
But people in my community are paying to have the lights on, but they still need to eat. There's still food insecurity in rural towns. And I think one thing people are forgetting is those rural towns. They're seeing the majority, but they're also not looking at the minority.
Yeah, I totally agree with her. I mean, I grew up poor too, and I lived in a post-industrial town that is literally shrinking by the day. And I've also lived in poor rural towns, and there aren't as many opportunities out there. But unfortunately, the only way out of this situation is an individual approach. I mean, you have to kind of invest in a nearby better opportunity, have a vehicle and whatnot, maybe arrange transportation. And once you start working at this better opportunity, it's able to help you get out of the poverty that you were born into. So, I mean, I feel for her. I definitely know where she's coming from.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
I think some people in the government are looking at the numbers and not the people and the geographical areas of where they're
Forgive me, what do you mean by those in the government? Because the government position has been overwhelming support for SNAP to the point that it's ridiculous, where the #1 purchased item is sugary sodas. That's $100 to $130 billion a year, $9 billion of which just go to soda alone. You can get everything on SNAP. You can get caviar on SNAP. You can get Halloween candy on SNAP, which I think is immoral and I think is ridiculous, which is why if we want to go back to a food stamp program for bare essentials, well, that should help people who are in need. But it sounds to me like you're talking about a nation, or the Cherokee Nation, and this neighborhood, or community, was most poor to 3rd poorest. Sounds to me like you're almost advocating for perpetual use of SNAP, which we know has been very prevalent in the Native American community. And would you say that's made the Native American community stronger or weaker? How's it doing?
It has made it stronger, but since we're not always recognized, it's not building back up.
What do you mean?
We're in a very poor rural area, but we're not able to change it dramatically because we're not having more people invest and spend time and work more in our rural areas because they're going to bigger and better places.
Why do you think that other rural areas are able to do so? There are other rural areas that aren't that poor, and certainly not for decades at a time. Why do you think it's so specific to the Native American community, who get far more, disproportionately more government benefits and contribute less? Why do you think that is?
Sometimes there's a rich person who gives a big amount, whether it be scholarship or funds. They're coming in. Sorry, I'm shaking.
No, that's okay. By the way, it's okay. I still get nervous all the time every time I do this.
I mean, dependency just creates kind of like a society of dependence. I mean, users basically. I hate to say leeches of the system, but that's, some people will go on government welfare programs, and as soon as they can get out of it, they quit. I've done that before. But then there's other people who just base their lives around it. Everything revolves around the 1st and the 15th. And yeah, I mean, in a lot of First Nations reservations, it's a very, very big problem. I've definitely seen it with like the Lakota and Apache, heavy alcohol use and dependency.
If this helps you, let me present to you my position.
Okay.
Would that help?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
And just let me know too if you want, because I don't want to dominate the conversation, but I also know you don't sit and talk as much for a living, so if it helps. I would say that it has kneecapped and irreparably damaged the Native American community. I would say the Native American community has been handicapped. They're not a particularly industrious people because they don't have to be, and because they are ultra reliant on government services. And I would say that let's grant your scenario, which I wouldn't say is necessarily true in most scenarios, but a wealthy person coming in and investing in a community. Sure, that can be helpful.
Yes.
Those people would be very, very hesitant to invest in a community that seems to be dependent in perpetuity forever on government assistance with no interest in getting off of it.
Okay.
That would be, I would say that. I would say that there's a reason that not only is that one of the poorest communities, but Native American reservations, despite having advantages in a lot of ways, pretty much everyone looks like an episode of Cops. It's bad. It's bad. Let's just be honest, right? They don't look beautiful. They're not nice. And we've been doing it this way with government assistance and subsidies. Maybe do it a different way. Maybe if you cut people off and go, no, you got to start doing what everyone else does. And you got to start toiling by the sweat of your brow. Maybe they would become more industrious, because I don't think it's helped the Native American community. And I say it because it's a microcosm. There's a huge over-reliance on government subsidies, welfare, social safety benefits in the Native American community. But now apply that at large. That's what happens with SNAP EBT. People stay on it. 60% of people on it are able-bodied. We can't reform it at all. If the government can't cut Coca-Cola from SNAP, then we can't cut anything. Enjoy your debt. You're a lot younger than me. If we can't have work requirements 80 hours a month, which is what's opposed by the Democrat Party, then we can't have any requirements. That's why I say we got to do away with it wholesale and do something else. Do you think we should change it to, at the very least, hey, get rid of soda, treats from SNAP?
I would say soda.
Okay.
And more health conscious things, but not to get away with it altogether.
Well,
to kind of compromise with SNAP.
Well, so here's the thing. You can't compromise with SNAP because you can't cut soda, right? There was a huge outcry of people going, that's a violation. Hey, you can't determine what these people, everyone deserves treats. First off, not everyone deserves treats. Second, for me, it's pretty simple. You pay, you choose. I pay, the taxpayer, I choose. Milk, eggs, meat, produce, and fabric softener. Otherwise, get to work. Is that fair?
All right, that's about all the time that we have for today, but very, very interesting video. We got to see two different opinions from the same political side. One that was against ending SNAP benefits and the other that was kind of, on the fence about it. Yeah, maybe we get away with it eventually. Both very interesting takes. If you want to see more interesting takes like this, make sure you like and subscribe. As you can see on the screen here, YouTube tells me only about 1.4% of you are subscribed viewers. So your support is much needed and much needed and much more appreciated now more than ever. Thank you for watching America Only. I'll catch you on the next one.